you familiar with Key and Peele?
Yeah.
What's your take on Key and Peele?
Funny dudes, man.
I interviewed Russell Simmons, and he said something interesting about Key and Peele. And actually, what's funny is that I actually ran into one of the guys at the airport, like right afterwards. You know, we had a conversation about it. And what Russell said was that
Hollywood didn't pick that nigga. They didn't pick none of them. They picked Key and Peele. And again, I want to make this clear, 'cause I said this 10 times. I promise you, I don't care if you make it a headline. I like Key and Peele. I think they're very funny. I love the trailer for the movie. I wonder if young white kids will go see it, because ain't nobody black necessarily excited to see it. Although the trailer looks good, that anybody should go see it. I'm gonna go see their movie. Just the trailer looks exciting. But, you know, it's like most black people, no matter how middle class they might be, their roots is so deep in the hood that culturally they still have cultural connection, and like they don't switch on and off and say, be black now, you know, that they don't do that. But that's okay, and there is a group of black people like that, but not many. I don't care where you came from, you got cousins and family and all that, and you got culture that travels with you. So they are just very funny Americans who happen to be black, and we need them too. But I don't want it to be them to the exclusion of everything else. Comedy Central is a very white network. It's so white, you put black shit on it that's really good, it might even travel.
Well, again, really, Dave Chappelle wasn't either. But, I gotta be careful here. You know, before I say this, I have this perception about me, that people have of me, that I gotta be careful how I say this, because it's gonna come off like I'm bitter and I'm angry and I'm hating, but I'm not. There's a certain authenticity to Dave that real niggas have. So meaning, even if you didn't come up the traditional way, and like I said, the Cedric the Entertainers of the world, Steve Harvey, certain guys through that Def Jam, Comic View era, the black community they've been ingrained with the black community since the beginning, and they've never gotten away with that, gotten away from that. Maybe now they're starting to, because the success and the crossover. One of my favorite, funniest commercials is with Cedric the Entertainer, and he talks about diabetes. And you can hear him pronouncing words, doing ordinary tasks. Ced is a street nigga from St. Louis, a ghetto street nigga from St. Louis. But he's at that level now where he ain't gonna talk like a street nigga from St. Louis. He's gonna say ordinary tasks. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So Dave even though Dave didn't, in that traditional sense, there's an authenticity to Dave that when black people look at him, they go, we can see it, we can smell it. He a real nigga. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Perfect example of this is Will Smith. Will is the perfect Negro in that way, in the sense that he's black enough to where if he's around all niggas in the hood, you go, I believe it. He is one of us. But he's crossover enough to make white people feel comfortable. DMX ain't that nigga.
Right.
DMX is one gear. Hey, yo, dog, where the niggas at? Yeah, where the weed? He's with the niggas. You ain't gonna see DMX at a banquet ball. So to get back to Key and Peele, I just think, look, I work with them on Mad. Good guys. Good heart. Good guys. Give you the shirt off their back. Is it ironic? Is it a coincidence that most of their friends are white and got white wives? They like white women? I mean,
I don't know him like that.
I'm just saying, and I'm trying to be careful here because I don't want this to come off the wrong way, even though it probably already has. If you hang around them, they got a new movie coming out, and it's genius what they're doing.
Keanu.
They playing that up. They playing up two black dudes who are black, but are so white internally that they're uncomfortable in that black surrounding. And it's a brilliant move because they're really like that. That's what I'm saying. If they walked into a room full of niggas, real niggas would go, something don't smell right. You know what I'm saying? I could. And I've always kind of been proud of that. I kind of have that Will Smith thing a little bit where I can hang around white folks without seeming like I'm putting on a front and just be me. And I don't make white people feel uncomfortable. But I can also go in the hood and be with the niggas and they go, nigga one of us. And you know, it's a special gene you have to have, man. It's like being an X-Men. You gotta have that's a special power, man. You know, and Key and Peele, they're good dudes. But yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when I would watch their show, the funniest shit to me, and I think they do this in the movie, is whenever they would portray black characters on Key and Peele, it felt like black people in whiteface doing black people.
What?
Yeah, man. Yeah, bro. I know what it is. It was so much emphasis on the, yeah, we black, man. And real niggas are cooler than that. Real niggas, when we talk, we be, oh, no, yeah, man, no doubt. All right. Hey, cuz. Hey, for real though, homie. Nigga, all right there already. And there's a natural
Flow.
Smooth flow to it where it just is versus, yeah, I'm black, man.
Well,
Niggas don't act like that.
I could tell you that my first, I remember hanging out with a black female friend of mine, and Key and Peele were actually advertising, you know, when they first got their sketch comedy show on, I think, Comedy Central, and they started advertising on Vlad TV. So we went to go check out some clips, and the first clip was a slavery clip, where they were both slaves, and they were kind of like praising the slave masters for choosing certain types of slaves, and it was like she looked at this and goes like, "Man, fuck these guys." And she
Well, about it,
turned it off.
I haven't seen the clip, so I can't speak on it. I know just by the nature of the subject, to say someone's offended. You know what I'm saying? It's slavery. It's sensitive. People are gonna be offended. Funny as money. If I saw the clip and was able to go, dude, that's funny. If it's funny, it's funny. I can't say shit on it just because it was a slave joke. You know what I mean? Because there's been some great slave jokes. Dave Chappelle, when he did the Roots outtakes, hilarious. Now someone still might be offended because he's talking about slavery. So I won't knock it because of the subject. I'm gonna knock it whether it's funny or not.
Well, I mean, the Dave Chappelle black, blind, white supremacist, I think was one of the most brilliant things ever put together. Like,
genius.
He's black and he's a white supremacist because he went to a blind school and no one told him he was black. They told him he was white because he was the only white kid.
When at the end, when the commentator says he divorced his wife because he found out she was a nigga lover, hilarious, man.
This is the clip right here. We just watched the Key and Peele slavery sketch. What's your take on it? You know what my problem with the sketch is? There's no comeuppance for the slave. You got two dudes who are basically pissed that they're not being sold into slavery and don't have white masters and be forced to work under the crack of the whip. They're upset about that. Which again, it shouldn't really be about the subject matter, but if you're going to tackle something that edgy and that risque, you kind of want to root for the slave. And you talking about two niggas that are happy to be sold into the worst conditions or upset because they're not being sold into the worst conditions imaginable. When you looked at Dave's outtakes on the Roots. Yeah, they shot the slave master.
They shot the slave master. And at one point, remember when the dude was whipping him, trying to get him to say his name, and he whipped him too hard, and he said, "Hey man, damn, I told you not so hard." And the dude said, "Oh, my bad, Dave." And finally he whipped him again too hard, and Dave got himself off the thing that was holding him up and went and got ready to beat the slave master up, and then went back into character, like he was hurt. It was tongue in cheek, but you saw the black dude kind of come up. You saw him win. You saw him, You know what I mean? Stick it to the man. I don't know, man. That's
Well, like I said, the black female who I was watching.
Did she tell you why she didn't like it?
She just said it was disgusting. That's what she said.
I wish she would have gave you more of a reason as to what she thought was disgusting.
Hmm.
Because I think that's the part that bothers me, is that they're just so, damn, I want to work, I want to be a slave, and the sketch doesn't go anywhere else. It's just that one direction. So,
I mean, there was a whole thing with Dave Chappelle leaving, and I've met Dave Chappelle. We hung out one night, you know, after his comedy show, and you know, we've kept in contact ever since then. And you know, I kind of leave the whole leaving the Chappelle show thing alone with him because I know it's a very touchy subject.
Right.
But from everything that I've heard and read, it was he left because I guess he felt that white people were laughing at him, and you know, they were trying to get him to do things that he felt was demeaning. Like, I guess there was a whole thing about him wearing a dress in a skit that he just refused to do, and that became a big thing.
I don't know how true what I saw on it is, but from what I read and saw, it was, you know, a lot of the black, powerful, prominent people in show business was putting pressure on him to stop making us look a certain way. You know, between the, you know, some of the sketches he was doing heavily based on race, they felt he was doing us a disservice. And the pressure of, you know, hey man, you gotta stop doing this became too much.
I'm a fan of Drake. I'm a fan of the idea of Drake, so no disrespect against Drake.
What do you mean by the idea of Drake? What does that mean?
Meaning that if he has a ghostwriter, he's an idea. He's not, meaning that it's a perception created that he's not really writing the lyrics, and it's just like here, let's make this in the factory and put it out.
I'm just on top of my game right now, Vlad, and I'm just getting blessed. I'm booked 4 or 5 times a week, 60, 75K a show, man. I'm winning right now, man, and I'm just steady trying to increase my hustle.